Chapter 1. Celestial Spirit Root and 5-Element Root Tianxing Sect. Once every 5 years, the sect held a grand recruitment ceremony. The plaza was packed with a dense crowd of new disciples. Standing among them, Yunjing wore an indifferent expression. Thousands of years? Tens of thousands? Even after all that time, she could still recall this day with startling clarity.
小景,
A worried voice rang out. Yunjing glanced sideways, the corners of her lips lifted into a faint smile. 叶丹霞, it's been a while.
小景,
叶丹霞 said anxiously.
During the first test, the spiritual root assessment, I turned out to have a celestial spirit root, but you have the lowest, tier 5 element root. At this rate, you definitely won't pass the sect entrance exam.
Oh, Yunjin responded casually.
Then what do you suggest?
叶丹霞's eyes flickered as she laughed softly.
You saw it too, my talent should be pretty good. After my results came out, if not for the formalities being incomplete, the sect leader would have accepted me as a disciple on the spot. Your talent may be poor, but that's okay. After all, we're good friends. I just asked around. Formal disciples are allowed to bring a male servant or a maid. When the time comes, I'll say you're the maid I brought. That way, you can stay by my side.
As Ye Danxia spoke, a trace of smugness flashed uncontrollably across her eyes. Yunjing, eldest daughter and young lady of the prestigious Yun family. And her? Just an orphan taken in by the Yun family. For years, she lived walking on eggshells under their roof, never knowing what the next day would bring. Perhaps even the heavens couldn't bear to watch anymore. Because what followed was a stunning reversal of fate. The Yun family suddenly met with disaster, wiped out overnight. Only Yunjing and Ye Danxia managed to escape. They coincidentally encountered the Tianxing sect opening its gates to new disciples, and decided to try their luck. Who could have thought? They both passed the spiritual root assessment. But Yunjing had the lowest, tier 5 element root. And hers? A celestial spirit root that hadn't appeared in 100 years. At this moment, Ye Danxia felt refreshed. So what if Yunjing had once been the daughter of the Yun family? Mortal wealth meant nothing in the face of immortality. Besides, the Yun family was already gone. Other than a so-called heirloom ring on her finger, Yunjing had nothing left. From this day forward, she and Yunjing would lead completely different lives. Still, Ye Danxia considered herself to be kind at heart. As gratitude to the Yun family's past kindness, she'd be willing to take Yunjing in as a maid. Yunjing quietly stared at Ye Danxia, then suddenly smiled.
What are you smiling at?
Ye Danxia frowned, unable to hold back.
The Xiaojing, this isn't the time to throw a tantrum like a pampered young miss. The cultivation world doesn't care about your mortal identity. I only made that offer because I knew you'd be thrown out after failing the test. If you're not interested, just pretend I never said anything.
Yunjing's smile only deepened. In her past life, Ye Danxia had said the exact same words. But the old Yunjing was timid and helpless. She actually believed her lies and chose to become her maid, just to stay. And the result? Ye Danxia was accepted as a disciple under the sect master. The sect master and several senior brothers all doted on her, and couldn't bear to let her suffer the slightest grievance. Since Ye Danxia couldn't be wronged, the one to suffer became Yunjing. If Ye Danxia got hurt accidentally, her maid was scolded for failing to protect her. If Ye Danxia was in a bad mood, her maid would be interrogated by everyone, until they concluded it to be her fault for making Ye Danxia angry. Every time, Ye Danxia would also stand by and pretend to defend her.
This has nothing to do with Yunjing.
Because of that, her bootlicking admirers tormented Yunjing even more behind closed doors. Still, she endured it all. She remembered Ye Danxia's promise to help her cultivate. So, after carefully taking care of Ye Danxia for a year, Yunjing finally, for the first time, asked for some pills to assist in her cultivation. At the time, Ye Danxia had agreed. Yunjing thought her efforts were finally going to be repaid. But the next day, she was kidnapped by Ye Danxia's obsessive admirer. That man said she didn't know her place. That she had the audacity to make such an unreasonable demand of Ye Danxia. That Ye Danxia was so anxious trying to get her some pills. She nearly cried. saying that giving her a place to stay was already an immense favor. She should have known better than to ask for more. But what she asked for was clearly just the most basic C-refining pills. For Ye Danxia, this should have been nothing at all. Yet with just a single tear and a pitiful expression from Ye Danxia, suddenly, she was the one making things difficult instead. Yunjin tried to explain. But the obsessive suitor didn't give her a chance. He released soul, eating ants, and let them gnaw on her for the whole night. By the time Ye Danxia found her, she was barely breathing. Ye Danxia held her and wept crocodile tears for a while, and then a whole group of people came to comfort her. As for Yunjin, no one paid her any attention at all. Fortunately, her life was tough, and somehow she survived. After that, she realized Ye Danxia would never help her cultivate. So she asked to leave. For this, Ye Danxia acted wronged again. She asked why Yunjin wanted to leave, saying she had already treated her so well. How could she do this to her? Before Yunjin could even say a word, Ye Danxia's entourage swarmed in, marking her with labels ungrateful, greedy, shameless. Every insult became synonymous with her name. In the end, the sect leader himself issued a confinement order against her. Even then, Yunjin hadn't given up. All she wanted was to find a way to escape. But then, Ye Danxia's official boyfriend turned out to be the demon lord from the demon realm. He secretly came to Tianxing sect to find her, but was discovered, attracting enemies. That night, the demon clan attacked Tianxing sect. The entire sect suffered heavy casualties. The demons who stormed the sect were enemies of the demon lord. Knowing that he had a lover within the sect, they came to kill her and cause him unbearable grief. For some unknown reason, the demons mistook her for Ye Danxia and gave her no chance to explain before she was brutally torn apart. After death, her soul watched as Ye Danxia and the demon lord loved and hated one another, wreaking havoc wherever they went. Those around them were left dead or wounded, but the two of them continued their torrid love story. Even Ye Danxia's many admirers met terrible ends. Only Ye Danxia ascended to the upper realm, with the demon lord in the end. What an utterly ridiculous story. Even as a ghost, Yunjin still couldn't understand. What had she done to deserve such a fate? Later, she was bound to a quick transmigration system. It was then she finally understood that her world was nothing more than a novel. Ye Danxia and the demon lord were the destined male and female leads. As for her, she wasn't even a proper supporting character, just an early cannon fodder. As protagonists, they were destined to rule the world. As for her, she was meant to be the stepping stone beneath the heroine's feet. But why? Why? She couldn't accept it. She refused to accept it. After that, Yunjin accepted the system's offer without hesitation, traveling through countless worlds, helping countless clients fulfill their regrets. After completing 100 missions, she was granted freedom, and one cheat skill of her choice, to take back into her original world. This time, she is determined not to follow the script.
Xiaojing, what is wrong with you?
Ye Danxia clearly annoyed.
I'm only saying this for your own good. I know becoming a maid may feel humiliating, but at least you'll have a chance to cultivate. Right? With our friendship. I'll definitely help you in the future. Isn't that better than living a mortal life and dying after 100 years? And didn't you say you wanted to investigate the Yun family's downfall and get revenge? Only cultivation will give you that power.
Yunjin looked at Ye Danxia like she was watching a clown perform. She smiled lightly.
Thank you for your kindness, but I'd still like to try on my own.
Ye Danxia grew angry.
With garbage aptitude like a 5-element root, what's there to try? Yunjin, if you keep being this stubborn, I really won't care about you anymore.
Yunjin nodded.
Alright, then don't care about me.
When Ye Danxia.
What?
Chapter 2 Super Simplification System. Ye Danxia took a deep breath and said through gritted teeth.
Fine. We did grow up together, after all, and I know you're just saying things out of frustration. So, I won't hold it against you this time.
Her gaze drifted toward the ring on Yunjin's hand.
I'm still willing to help you. But you have to give me something in return. That ring on your hand, I really like it. Why don't you give it to me?
This ring looked very ordinary on the surface. But for some unknown reason, Ye Danxia just inexplicably wanted to have it. She trusted her intuition. This ring she had to get it. Yunjin glanced at Ye Danxia. 叶丹霞grew a bit anxious.
Well, have you made up your mind?
Yunjing curled her lips slightly, her voice flat and detached.
I appreciate your kindness, but no need.
How can you be so ungrateful?
Ye Danxia stomped her foot in anger.
That's right.
Yunjing replied directly.
So you can leave now.
Then she turned and walked away. Ye Danxia stared at her back, a trace of resentment flashed in her eyes. Just wait. Did this woman still think she was the proud young lady of the Yun family? One day, she would realize, in the cultivation world, she was nothing at all. Ye Danxia took a deep breath, slightly calming herself. There was no need to rush. Once Yunjin failed the entrance exam and was chased out of the sect, she'd bring up the offer again. Would Yunjin still have the nerve to refuse her? Once she became her maid, would she dare refuse to hand over the ring? At that thought, Ye Danxia's mood completely settled. She would make Yunjin understand just how vast the difference was between a celestial spirit root and a 5-element root. At that moment, a stern voice rang out. Sect Master Zhao Wuji announced.
96 people passed the first test. The second round is testing comprehension. Someone come and distribute the non-attribute cultivation manual, 玄诀.
Tianxing sect disciples quickly handed each candidate a small booklet.
玄诀 is a basic introductory cultivation method. It is not specific to any attributes and can be practiced by anyone regardless of spiritual root type. Memorize the contents and begin cultivating immediately. The sooner you could cultivate spiritual C, the higher your comprehension. If you're among the top 10 to succeed, you will be accepted into the sect unconditionally, regardless of your spiritual root. Time begins now.
After speaking, the sect master glanced toward Ye Danxia with a satisfied smile. Regardless of how many disciples they ultimately accepted today, just securing a celestial spirit root was already a huge gain. Celestial spirit roots usually came with high comprehension. In this test, Ye Danxia was bound to take first place again. On the square, a stick of incense was lit. The time had begun. Yunjing opened the booklet and casually flipped through its pages. Ye Danxia glanced at her with a mocking smirk. What? Did Yunjin still think she can get into the top 10 and join the sect? What kind of comprehension aptitude could she, a pampered young miss, possibly have? This time, she would make sure Yunjin gave up all hope. As Yunjin browsed through the booklet, she silently muttered in her heart.
Activate cheat skill.
The next moment.
Ding. Cheat skill activated. Super. Simplification system is now running. System purpose. The world is too complicated. I just want to live a simple life. A. This system is dedicated to simplifying everything and helping the host live a carefree and stress-free life. Free simplifications remaining, 10. After that, simplification attempts must be exchanged using emotion points. Emotion. Points are earned by triggering emotions in others.
Although Yunjin had chosen this cheat herself, she only knew the general description. This emotion point mechanic was something she just discovered. She raised an eyebrow but didn't really care much. Don't worry, she'd definitely be triggering plenty of emotions. Yunjin gave a mental command.
Scan.
Scanning. Scan result. 玄诀, beginner, level cultivation method. Requirements. Possesses a spiritual root. Method. Sit in a fixed posture. Sense surrounding spiritual energy. Draw it into the body. A. One cycle is completed after 3 breaths. First successful cycle yields the first trace of T. Simplification available.
To be honest, this wasn't a hard technique. With her thousands of years of experience, she could complete it without much trouble. But she'd worked hard for such a long time. Didn't she choose this system just to have easy and comfortable days? So why should she do it the hard way? Yunjin calmly gave the command.
Simplify.
Simplifying. Simplified result, A. Sit in the correct posture to automatically absorb spiritual energy and complete the cycle.
Still have to sit. That sitting posture from the booklet was too ugly. Yunjin frowned.
Simplify.
Simplifying. New result. Just eat and all steps will be automatically completed. The more you eat, the more spiritual energy is absorbed.
Now that's more like it. Yunjing was satisfied. Coincidentally, she was a little hungry. If it's only eating, then she supposed she could reluctantly manage. Yunjing began rummaging through her bag. What snacks did she bring again? On the platform, the 10 peak masters of the Tianxing sect were observing the candidates below. There is competition between the 10 peak masters of Tianxing sect. Each peak competed for new talents, and all of them hoped to bring promising seedlings under their tutelage. And of course, the celestial spirit root was every peak master's dream. But from the sect master's attitude, it was clear he already considered her as his disciple. They didn't dare interfere, and could only look at the rest of the candidates. They wouldn't be as good as the celestial spirit root, but is still better than nothing. Master Yang Hui, peak master of the artifact forging peak, looked toward Ye Danxia with envy.
Just look at that celestial spirit root. So calm and confident.
Master Huolie, peak master of the pill refining peak side.
Celestial spirit roots are truly rare beyond words. Their aptitude and comprehension are naturally top tier. This kind of introductory technique can't possibly be a challenge for her.
Tianxing sect's 10 peaks each have their own specialty. Genius disciples usually focused solely on cultivation. Few would choose the paths of artifact forging or pill refinement. A celestial spirit root that is rarely seen once in a century like Ye Danxia is far out of their reach. Both peak masters sighed in unison. Huolie glanced at a corner on the edge and chuckled.
Well, at least we'll recruit a few new disciples. But that drunkard is going home empty-handed again.
Yang Hui laughed as well.
As long as he's at the bottom, I'll be content.
In the corner, a disheveled old man lay snoring in his chair. A battered wine gourd hewing from his waist, its surface smooth from years of use. Back on the square, the candidates had already begun to meditate, trying to sense spiritual energy. Ye Danxia was no exception. She followed the manual precisely, her posture being the most standard among all the new candidates. Zhao Wuji nodded with approval. Excellent. As expected of a celestial spirit root, she would surely take first place again. Now the question was, who would be second? Zhao Wuji's gaze swept across the candidates. Then he paused. All the others were seated in meditation, but one person remained standing. Among the crowd, she stood out like a sore thumb. Yunjin stood there, rummaging through her pack. Chapter 3, Terrible Attitude, expelled from the sect.
Emotion points +5. Emotion points +1. Emotion points +2.
Emotion point notifications had already begun rolling in Yunjin's mind. Yunjin was completely confused. What did she do? She already earned emotion points. Whatever. Just keep looking for food. After supplying a few emotion points to Yunjin, Zhao Wuji's brow furrowed deeply. Because Yunjin came together with the Ye Danxia, he had a vague impression of her. She and Danxia seemed to get along well. But Yunjin had the worst 5-element root, and now she even looked a bit dazed and slow. Even for Ye Danxia's sake. Someone like this couldn't be accepted into the sect. When the time came, and Yunjin failed the test, he'd probably have to comfort Ye Danxia a bit. Just as he was thinking this, suddenly, Yunjin made a move. Zhao Wuji thought she was finally going to sit and begin cultivating. So he glanced over. But what he saw was Yunjin happily pulling a packet of sunflower seeds from her bag. She then leaned lazily against a pillar she found and sat down. She squirmed around a bit, as if looking for the most comfortable posture. Once she found it, she began cracking sunflower seeds in a lazy manner. Crack, crack. In the quiet square, the sound was especially loud. Zhao Wuji angrily suddenly stood up, his expression cold. How arrogant! Unbelievably arrogant! How infuriating! Absolutely infuriating! Having the chance to get into Tianxing sect was a rare opportunity. And yet this Yunjin clearly didn't treasure it at all. She was basically slapping the entire sect in the face. The other candidates, who were working hard to sense spiritual energy, were also distracted by the crunching sound, and turned to look. When they saw what Yunjin was doing, the entire crowd froze. At such an important occasion, it's fine if she couldn't sense spiritual energy. She could at least pretend to try. Had she just given up on herself entirely?
Emotion points plus 10. Emotion points plus 5. Emotion points plus 20. Emotion points plus 5.
In just a few seconds, Yunjin's emotion point balance shot up to 500. She continued munching on her sunflower seeds, feeling utterly relaxed. Looks like earning emotion points wouldn't be hard after all. On the square, a hint of smugness flickered in Ye Danxia's eyes. Ha! She originally thought Yunjin would be putting up a fight. In the end, she was just all bark and no bite. As expected. 5-element roots are too messy and complicated. Trying to sense spiritual energy was almost innately impossible. Yunjin must have known she had no chance and so directly gave up. Feigning concern, Ye Danxia called out loudly.
Yunqing, don't be like this. Even though you only have a 5-element root and can hardly sense any spiritual energy, I already agreed to take you in as my maid and bring you into the sect together. Don't give up on yourself, okay?
Yunjin glanced at her, cracked, and continued munching on another seed. With no response, Ye Danxia's expression stiffened. She gritted her teeth, walked up to Yunjin, and tried to grab her arm.
Xiaoting, don't act like this. We're sisters. Watching you be like this hurts me.
Ye Danxia was still playing her little white lotus act. The next second, she suddenly felt a sting on her face. Reaching up, she pulled off a sunflower seed shell. While she stood frozen, Yunjin's eyes lit up.
Emotion points plus 50?
It was her single biggest gain yet. This Ye Danxia is this world's female lead. Does this mean the female lead can give more emotion points than others? Yunjin immediately cracked another seed and flicked the shell straight at Ye Danxia's face. Seeing this, low chuckles broke out around the square.
Emotion points plus 80.
At this moment, Yunjin smiled sweetly.
Oops, sorry. Not sure why, but my sunflower seed shells seem to really like your face.
Flick. Another seed shell flew towards Ye Danxia. This time Ye Danxia tried to dodge, but the shell curved like it had a mind of its own and landed in her hair.
Emotion points plus 90.
Yunjin beamed.
Oh look, it's a one-of-a-kind hair ornament, so that's what you were after. You should have just said so sooner.
Ye Danxia's face turned sour, her expression instantly turning ugly. She stomped her foot.
Xiaojing, I'm only doing this out of the kindness of my heart. How could you? Why are you being so ungrateful?
Yunjin rolled her eyes.
I really can't bear your kindness. And since you already know I'm ungrateful, shouldn't you get lost? Or do you want a few more seed shell hairpins?
You...
Ye Danxia's eyes turned red.
Xiaojing, what happened to you? Why are you treating me like this?
Her eyes turned watery. On the platform, Zhao Wuji felt a sudden pang of pity and felt his heart hurt. Next to him, his senior disciple, Ruan Jun, was also glaring furiously at Yunjin. That Yunjin, she'd gone too far. Danxia was such a nice girl. How dare she make her cry? Zhao Wuji couldn't personally interfere, so he said coldly.
Ruan Jun, that Yunjing is arrogant and disruptive. Help me go out there and remove her from the grounds.
Zhao Wuji commanded, and none of the other peak masters objected, nor did they express any opinions. Only the drunk old man opened one lazy eye and drawled.
Sect Master, did the sect exam forbid eating?
Zhao Wuji replied coldly.
The elders who made the rules could never have imagined someone this shameless.
Then there's no such rule.
The old man said. Zhao Wuji's expression darkened.
But what about her disturbing others' cultivation?
The old man said.
From what I saw, she didn't approach anyone. It was that young woman who went to her first.
Zhao Wuji stared coldly at the old man for a while before suddenly speaking, his voice icy.
Peak Master Lin, you're an elder of the sect. I've always shown you respect for that. But tell me, have I shown you so much courtesy that you've forgotten your place? Since when does the sect leader no longer even have the authority to expel a disciple?
His words were merciless. The old man's expression shifted slightly and fell silent. Zhao Wuji gave a cold snort.
Ruan Jun, what are you waiting for?
Ruan Jun straightened immediately and walked over. He stopped in front of Ye Danxia, a trace of pity flashing in his eyes.
Junior sister Yi, don't waste your efforts on someone like her. You were destined to soar above the clouds, while she's just a clown seeking attention. I know you value relationships and feelings, but someone like her is fated to never walk the same path as you. Don't bother with her anymore and leave this matter to your senior brother.
Although she hadn't officially joined the sect yet, Ruan Jun referred to Ye Danxia as junior sister without hesitation, clearly already seeing her as one of them. Ye Danxia felt a bit proud. She glanced at Yunjin, who actually still looked indifferent, and couldn't help but narrow her eyes. Ha! Alright then, let her see what real power looks like. Ye Danxia stopped talking, and Ruan Jun turned to Yunjin, his face dark.
Yinjin, do you realize your mistake?
Yunjin munched on a sunflower seed, watching Ruan Jun with a curious expression. Oh, a male side character. In her past life, when Ye Danxia had entered under the sect leader's tutelage, he had already accepted 5 male disciples, and she was the young junior sister. As the only girl and youngest member, combined with her supreme talent, she instantly became the center of attention and acts of affection. Beloved by the master, dotted on by her senior brothers, Ye Danxia was unstoppable at Tianxing sect. But unfortunately for them, Ruan Jun and the others were merely male side characters, after all. The real male lead was still the demon lord over in the demon realm. Yunjin blinked and smiled.
Senior brother, I was wrong.
Ruan Jun narrowed his eyes. She knows she was wrong. Unfortunately, it's too late, Yunjin said sincerely.
I was wrong for eating alone. Come on, let's share. Everyone should also get a share.
Emotion points plus 20.
Yunjin was a bit unimpressed. This male side character just couldn't compare to the female lead in generating emotion points. This Ruan Jun is not that great. Ruan Jun's face darkened.
As if I'd want your lousy sunflower seeds. Yinjin, your attitude during the test has been appalling. Per sect master's orders, I am to expel you from Tianxing sect. Leave immediately.
Yunjin raised her brow.
Appalling attitude, based on what? Senior brother Rare, you shouldn't make baseless accusations.
Ruan Jun was furious and pointed at her.
You're acting this lazy. Even if I give you 10 years, you still wouldn't master the basics of Shenjue. Our Tianxing sect will not waste a precious opportunity on trash like you.
Heavens!
Yunjin gasped eyes wide.
Senior brother Rare, what are you saying? Are you telling me that even a trash technique like Shenjue requires hard work to learn?
Chapter 4. Is this supposed to be hard?
Emotion points plus 50.
Ruan Jun's chest rose and fell in anger.
Shenjue may be an introductory technique, but for disciples who've never practiced C refining, even entry-level comprehension can take days at the shortest, even months at the longest. It's not something just anyone can so easily achieve. Your aptitude is already poor, and yet you're acting incredibly lazy. If you can actually refine C from cultivation, I might as well go smash my head open right here in this square.
Senior brother Rare, since you've said that, I'm actually looking forward to it.
Yunjin gave him a radiant smile.
Looking forward to what? Don't tell me you seriously think.
Ruan Jun started, ready to ridicule her. Yunjin suddenly grabbed a large handful of sunflower seeds and stuffed them into her mouth. Here's the thing. With the simplified version of Xuejue, the more she ate, the more spiritual energy she could absorb. Since she had been slowly nibbling earlier, the energy condensed wasn't as obvious. But now, it was different. Seeing her continue to be so blatantly arrogant, Ruan Jun was enraged. He was about to personally drive her out. In the next moment, the surrounding 5-colored spiritual energy surged and gathered around Yunjin. Wisps of light danced between her fingertips. Ruan Jun's eyes widened, with an expression like he'd just seen a ghost. Even Ye Danxia froze. She had also only just started cultivating, and had yet to sense any so-called spiritual energy. But when her spiritual roots were tested earlier, the sect master clearly said she had a celestial spirit root. She would be the most elite genius. And she still hadn't been able to sense anything yet. But Yunjin already had. No, this is impossible. She must be using some kind of illusion. Ye Danxia glared fiercely at Yunjin, refusing to believe what she was seeing.
Senior brother.
Yunjin smiled calmly as she manipulated the 5-colored energy into the shape of a colorful flower.
This should count as passing the entrance exam, right?
Another wave of emotion points surged again. Combined with the earlier friendly contributions from Ye Danxia and Ruan Jun, her balance had now passed 1,000. Ruan Jun's face turned hideous. What is this? Qi manifestation combined with this level of control. This was beyond just passing the entrance exam. This Yun Jing acted like someone who had cultivated Xuanjue for years. But how could this be possible? Only half a stick of incense had passed since they were handed the booklets. She'd achieved all this in less than half a stick of incense. How could someone like that even exist?
Still not enough?
Yunjin raised an eyebrow, the wisps of light weaving freely through the air under her control. Ruan Jun stood there in complete shock. Up on the platform, Zhao Wuji and the other peak masters had also turned their attention toward Yunjin, their expressions shifting. Spiritual energy fluctuation. In half a stick of incense, a candidate had already managed to cultivate spiritual ki. No. Not only had she successfully cultivated from the look of things, she had clearly achieved perfect control over the 5-element spiritual energy. This girl, who had just been ordered to be removed by the sect master, actually had such a terrifying aptitude for comprehension. The old man also glanced toward Yunjin, revealing an intrigued expression. This is interesting. The light wisps Yunjin controlled finally stopped midair, forming a painting. Ruan Jun glanced at it in a daze. That painting was actually the front gate of Tianxing sect. She could even draw a picture using spiritual energy. Is this still a human being? All the candidates participating in the test abandoned their thought to continue cultivating, and the entire plaza erupted into an uproar. Yunjin, with that one theatrical display, harvested another wave of emotional points. Up on the platform, everyone exchanged glances. With such aptitude for comprehension and terrifying spiritual control, just what kind of monster was this Yunjin? And yet, all of them shared the same regret. Too bad she had the 5-element root. Yes. Too bad it was the 5-element root. No matter how strong your comprehension is, if your cultivation can't keep up, everything is still meaningless. Noticing the astonished gazes from the platform, Ye Danxia began to panic. She subconsciously glanced at Ruan Jun. That one look from Ye Danxia filled Ruan Jun with courage. No matter how talented Yunjin was, she had made junior sister Ye upset. She doesn't deserve to stay. As her senior brother, he had a duty to protect her by driving out this troublemaker. Ruan Jun shouted,
Yinxing, do you think Tianxing sect is your playground? This isn't about talent, this is about your attitude. With that lazy personality of yours, removing you is perfectly justified.
Yunjin smiled slightly. The next moment, her clear voice rang out across the plaza.
But this Xuanjue only needs a single glance to be understood. Just eat a bit and you can advance. Why would I need to try that hard? No way, senior brother Rar. Don't tell me you spent a long time before learning it.
Ruan Jun nearly exploded.
It took me 3 days to pass the exam. That was already considered top-tier talent.
3 days?
Yunjin's eyes went wide in disbelief.
What kind of fool needs 3 days to learn something this basic? Look at me, I just need to eat a bit and it works.
She once again cracked a few seeds. Instantly, the surrounding spiritual energy rushed toward her in waves. There was no need to sit and meditate. The energy naturally completed a cycle and nestled obediently into her dantian.
So what exactly was the hard part that took you 3 days?
Yunjin asked Ruan Jun, her expression completely serious, as though she did not understand at all.
Emotion points plus 100.
Yunjin glanced at Ruan Jun in mild surprise. Oh. He could actually have such intense emotional fluctuations. Seems like this male side character had some hidden potential. It might be worth farming him for more points in the future. Ruan Jun's lips trembled with rage. He hadn't paid close attention to Yunjin before. But now, watching her intently, he realized that not only had she cultivated qi, she was on the threshold of the first level of qi refining. In such a short time. What kind of monster was she? With a 5-element root. Does this world have this kind of 5-element root? Ruan Jun helplessly looked up at Zhao Wuji. Yunjin looked up too, locking eyes with the sect master.
When you read the rules, you didn't say we couldn't lean on pillars or eat sunflower seeds, right?
Zhao Wuji squinted.
I did not.
Then according to the rules, since I was the first to finish the test, I should be qualified to enter the sect.
The old man laughed and added.
That is indeed the rule.
He was starting to admire this Yunjin. Zhao Wuji's eyes glinted with displeasure. Before the root testing, he had already favored Ye Danxia. As for Yunjin, she looked far too flashy, entirely unbecoming of a sect disciple. Her comprehension was indeed remarkable, but 5-element roots were still 5-element roots. The further you cultivate, the harder it takes to advance. Throughout history, no cultivator with a 5-element roots had ever reached the nascent soul stage. No matter what, he does not want this disciple. It's also not good to break Tianxing sect's rules. Zhao Wuji said coldly.
You may remain, but unless a peak master takes you in, you'll go to the outer sect.
Outer sect versus inner sect, the differences in resources were massive. For outer sect disciples, standing out is even more difficult than ascending to immortality. No peak master dared to speak up against Zhao Wuji, who seemed to dislike Yunjin. Those who had initially shown some interest in her talent now grew quiet. Accepting Yunjin for her comprehension alone wouldn't have been half bad. But it definitely wasn't worth opposing Zhao Wuji over such poor quality spirit roots. Zhao Wuji said faintly.
You see, no one wants to accept you. If you still insist on staying, then...
Yunjin ignored him and directly turned to the old man.
Will you accept?
The old man nearly choked on his wine in surprise, and coughed for several seconds, then forced himself to swallow it down. No way was he going to waste good liquor.
Girl, you want to be my disciple. Do you even know who I am?
The old man uncontrollably asked. Yunjin replied calmly.
I can see that you like drinking. I have a secret family recipe that can brew the best wine you've ever tasted.
The old man swallowed hard. He tried hard to resist.
I already have my hands full with 3 disciples. Adding another...
I can brew the long-lost Baihua wine.
Yunjin said. Gulp, the sound of swallowing was even more exaggerated. The old man couldn't help but ask.
Since it's already lost, how can you still brew it?
Yunjin was getting impatient.
I have my ways. Just answer whether or not you would take me as your disciple.
The old man struggled wildly between his alcoholism and his rationality. After a long while, he finally decided to be honest.
If you truly want to become my disciple, there are a few things you must know in advance. First, I suffered a serious injury in my early years. Due to that, my cultivation hasn't improved in many years, and likely never will. Second, I am the peak master of the 10th peak, Heavenly Sword Peak, of Tianxing sect. However, this peak master title is not permanent. Every 3 years, a ranking competition is held among the 10 peaks. Any peak that places last 10 times in a row will be stripped of its peak master status. I've already come in last for 9 times. In the sect's next competition, 3 months from now, I'll most likely lose my position. Meaning I won't be able to protect you anymore. If you're fine with these 2 matters, you may take me as your master.
Chapter 5. Severed Relations. As soon as he finished speaking, even the old man himself felt a little helpless, and couldn't help but shake his head. He made everything clear. How could anyone still be willing to join Heavenly Sword Peak, only to sink with him? The old man only said everything in order to make Yunjin give up. Yunjin's expression didn't change in the slightest. She stepped forward and directly bowed to the old man, officially worshipping the master.
Disciple Yunjin greets master.
The old man was stunned for a moment by her resolute words. His mouth hung open, and wanted to say something, but didn't know where to start. He had already explained everything clearly. Taking him as a master brought no benefit, and might even be calculated against in the future. Even joining the outer sect would be better than becoming his disciple. Why would Yunjin? The old man felt complicated, and said softly.
Very well. Since you insist, then I will take you as my disciple.
Forget it. Even if he had to risk his life, he could still at least carve a way out for a few disciples.
Thank you, master.
Yunjin straightened up. To her, most of Tianxing sect's people could only be described as disgusting. But this old man named Lin Ya was different. The Yun family had a secret wine brewing technique passed down through generations. Because of this, she had brief exchanges with Lin Ya in her previous life. Though these exchanges were shallow, it was only when she brewed a good batch that she would occasionally gift him some. It was just mortal wine, not anything valuable. Yunjin had also never expected anything in return. However, the day she was slaughtered by the demon clan, the rest of Tianxing sect acted like nothing had happened. The sect master even toasted drinks, and chatted merrily with the demon lord. Only Niya had drawn his sword, and attacked the demon lord in fury. But his cultivation had greatly declined. How could he possibly be a match for the demon lord? In the end, he could only die a meaningless death. Before dying, Yunjin's soul saw him look toward the wooden hut where she once lived. Despair and pain etched across his face as he whispered.
In the end, I really couldn't protect anyone.
Then this old man closed his eyes forever. That scene left a deep impression on Yunjin, and had always left a warmth in a small corner of her heart. They were never close. Those few cups of wine were also not worth anything. He most likely realized something, prompting his attack on the demon lord. Yes, it wasn't until after her death did Yunjin realize it hadn't been a coincidence she was mistaken for Ye Danxia. The demon lord believed she had bullied Ye Danxia and, wanting to vent her anger on Ye Danxia's behalf, deliberately leaked information to lure his enemies into killing her. In the end, he hit two birds with one stone, disposing of Yunjin, who had hurt Ye Danxia, and eliminated his rival in a single move. As for the life of a maid, no one cared. No, Lin Ya cared. So even knowing he would die, he raised his sword against the demon lord. Naturally, such an old man deserved to be called master by her in this life. In her previous life, Lin Ya's disciples were all killed. By the end, he had no will to live. This time, Yunjin thought she could change all of that. Yunjin stepped forward and calmly stood by Lin Ya's side. Zhao Wuji narrowed his eyes and gave a mocking sneer. Heavenly sword peak. Ha! How fitting. He despised Lin Ya, and Yunjin also left a bad taste in his mouth. When the time came, he could deal with them both together.
Xiaojing?
Ye Danxia grew anxious and cried out.
Didn't you hear? In 3 months, Heavenly Sword Peak will lose its peak master. You shouldn't go somewhere so hopeless just to spite me,
she continued.
We're best sisters. How could we part like this? Didn't we agree that you'd serve as my maid, and I'd bring you into the sect? It's only in name that we'd be master and servant. In reality, we'd still be sisters.
Tearing up, Ye Danxia looked pleadingly at the sect master.
Please, sect master, don't separate us. I can't bear to watch her go down the wrong path.
Tears brimmed in her eyes, and Ranjun felt immediate heart-touchy. He glared angrily at Yunjin.
You were so disrespectful, and yet little junior sister still speaks up for you. Yinxing, don't be so ungrateful.
Senior brother, don't say that.
Ye Danxia quickly added.
Actually, in the Yun family, I was just an orphan. Though they claimed to adopt me, I was always treated as a servant. Now that I'm asking Xiaojing to be my maid. Of course she can't accept this gap in treatment. But she only has a 5-element root. If she wants to join the inner sect, this is her only option.
Looking deeply sincere, she said to Yunjin.
Xiaojing, don't worry. Whatever I get in the future, you'll get a share too. Please, stop being angry with me, alright?
Yunjin hadn't reacted yet, but Ranjun already had an expression of being moved.
Junior sister, this Yinxing is so ungrateful, yet you're still so good to her. Just how kind-hearted are you?
Senior brother, although the Yun family treated me badly, they still took me in. And Xiaojing and I grew up together. I can't just ignore her.
Ye Danxia said firmly. Zhao Wuji hearing this, was somewhat touched too. He gave Yunjin a cold glance.
Though your words and actions are disgraceful and disgusting, you have a good sister. Since Danxia spoke up, I will give you another chance. From now on, stay by Danxia's side. As long as you take good care of her, I will ensure you have a future.
Ye Danxia's expression lit up with joy, and she immediately responded.
Thank you, sect master.
Zhao Wuji nodded, as if it were only natural.
Yunjin, aren't you going to thank Danxia?
Ye Danxia looked delighted.
Xiaojing, now we don't have to be apart anymore.
Yunjin looked at this farce and curled her lips into a smile. She raised her hands and slowly began clapping.
Brilliant, truly brilliant.
Ye Danxia's expression changed.
Xiaojing, what's wrong with you?
Yunjin smiled.
Ye Densai, you say the Yun family treated you poorly and only saw you as a servant. Do you even know what real servant girls have to do?
Ye Danxia's face shifted.
Xiaojing, why bring that up?
When war raged, you were just an orphan. My father, out of kindness, took you in and raised you like a daughter. And now you say such things.
Yunjin said coldly.
If you truly believe you were mistreated, do you dare to show your hands? Let everyone see whether your hands are as rough as a servant's, or as smooth as a noble lady's.
Ye Danxia froze, instinctively hiding her hands behind her back. She forced a smile.
Xiaojing, why are you fussing over this?
Yunjin ignored her. She turned to the crowd and said,
If not for my father saving her, Ye Densai wouldn't even be alive to muddy the truth today. These years, she was treated as a cherished daughter. Even if she had truly been made a servant, so what? That's not enough to repay a life-saving debt. But now that she's been declared a rare celestial spirit root, she thinks she's above everyone and claims the Yun family had wronged her. Fine, the Yun family also expects no repayment. I only ask everyone here to bear witness. From this day forward, Yedensai and I are no longer related. We will go our separate ways. Even if we meet again, there's no need to greet each other.
Her face cold, Yunjing raised her hand. A burst of spiritual power shot out toward Ye Danxia's wrist. The bracelet on Ye Danxia's wrist shattered instantly.
This bracelet was one of a pair. I had one, you had the other. We once said we'd be sisters forever.
Yunjing said coldly.
But now you're no longer worthy of wearing it. There will no longer be a bond between us.
She removed her own bracelet and tossed it to the ground. The bracelet shattered. For some reason, Ye Danxia's heart jolted violently. Chapter 6. This master was the right choice.
Xiaojing,
Ye Danxia's lips trembled.
why would you say such things?
Ye Danxia didn't know what else to say. She simply covered her face and began to sob softly. She didn't need to say much. The moment she started crying, Zhao Wuji's expression changed at once, and Ruan Jun's face was filled with pain and sympathy.
Yunjing,
Ruan Jun, upset, stepped in front of Ye Danxia to shield her.
apologize! I want you to apologize immediately.
A faint smile played on Yunjing's lips.
Oh, what exactly am I apologizing for? For exposing the truth and leaving someone speechless, able only to hide behind tears to conceal their ungrateful, inhuman nature. Fine, consider that my apology.
Ye Danxia's heart trembled. She wiped her tears and looked up with red eyes.
Xiaojing, after all these years as close friends, how could you see me this way?
Friends.
Yunjing sneered.
No, you said it yourself, didn't you? You were nothing more than a servant in the Yun household, and the Yun family treated you poorly. You were a mere servant, and I was the legitimate daughter of the Yun family. On what basis could you and I possibly be friends?
Ye Danxia's words were full of contradictions. If the Yun family treated her so badly, how could they have been close friends for all those years? And if the Yun family had saved her and treated her well, then her earlier statements. The crowd began casting subtle glances at Ye Danxia. Ye Danxia opened her mouth, trying to deny, but no words came out. Her face flushed a deep, red hue. Seeing this, Ruan Jun's heart ached even more. Angrily, he said,
Yunjing, junior sister only said a few careless words, why can't you let it go? Besides, didn't she say she's willing to take you in? Isn't that enough to repay the Yin family's kindness? Or are you trying to use that debt to demand even more?
Yunjing looked at him, face utterly blank.
What? Are you incapable of understanding human words? I don't need her charity. Why should I degrade myself to become her dog? Oh, maybe you enjoy playing the obedient mutt. You already look like a pathetic simp.
Ruan Jun didn't know what simp meant. But it clearly wasn't a compliment. His face flushed with anger.
You're spouting nonsense.
Zhao Wuji narrowed his eyes and said coldly,
Lin Ya, your disciple being this disrespectful. Yet you're not going to discipline her.
Lin Ya leisurely took a sip of wine.
I don't see anything wrong with what Xiaojing said.
He stood up.
Speaking of which, my disciple has already mastered Xuanjue and earned her spot in the sect. But this Ye Danxia hasn't even entered the sect yet, and she already dares to demand that my disciple serve her as a maid. Does she even deserve that?
Lin Ya's expression was one of open disdain. Ye Danxia's face turned pale.
Junior sister has a celestial spirit root. Entering the sect is only natural.
Jun said.
Oh. Then what's the point of this second round of testing?
Lin Ya replied.
If I were her, I'd focus on comprehending Xuanjue first. If I had the impressive celestial spirit root, but can't even make it into the top 10, I might as well slam my head against the hall pillars and die.
After speaking, Lin Ya gave Ruan Jun a teasing glance.
By the way, didn't you say that if my disciple could cultivate Xuanjue, you'd slam your head and die? Maybe you two should set a date and do it together.
Yunjing glanced at her new master, a smile tugging at the corners of her lips. It seemed she hadn't chosen wrong. Ye Danxia glanced back at the plaza. While she was clashing with Yunjin, the other disciples were all trying their best to block out the noise and focus on cultivating. Ye Danxia grew slightly anxious. She has a celestial spirit root. Destined to stand at the peak, how could she fall behind others? Just as Ruan Jun was about to speak up for her again, she quickly tugged his sleeve.
Senior brother, thank you for defending me. But what Peak Master Lin said wasn't wrong. I haven't even entered the sect yet. I think Xiaojing probably doesn't believe me because of that.
She looked at Yunjin.
Xiaojing, don't worry. I'll make sure to cultivate spiritual qi as soon as possible. I'll prove to you that I said everything for your own good.
Without waiting for another word, fearing another slap in the face, Ye Danxia quickly returned to the plaza and sat down to cultivate. Seeing her retreat, Yunjin gave her a faint glance. This Ye Danxia wouldn't give up so easily. Even if her only goal was the ancestral ring on Yunjin's hand, she refused to back down. But Yunjin didn't mind. If Ye Danxia didn't come looking for her, she'd go looking for Ye Danxia. Without the female lead, her entourage, and the future male lead, where could she get more emotion points? This round left her emotion points at a solid 1,500. Not a bad start.
Sect Master, I've accepted a disciple. There's no need for me to observe the rest of the testing. I'll take Xiaojing back to Heavenly Sword Peak.
林牙谢的赵无极 gave him a frosty look.
As you wish.
林牙 acted like he didn't notice the sour expression, and turned to Yunjin with a grin.
Come. Let's go meet your useless senior brothers and senior sister.
Yunjin replied crisply. The pair strolled off boldly. Zhao Wuji's face darkened as he watched them leave. For a long while, he remained silent. Then he chuckled coldly. A mere 5-element root. Even if she had some talent, what difference could she possibly make? Now, because of the sect's rules, and the fact that Niya's injuries were sustained for the sect, he couldn't do anything directly. But in 3 months, when Niya loses his peak master title, whether it was Niya or this new disciple, they'll both be nothing more than pawns he can crush or mold at will. In Zhao Wuji's mind, both Lin Ya and Yunjin were nothing more than autumn grasshoppers, only a few days left to leap around. He turned away, no longer paying them any attention. On a flying sword, Lin Ya brought Yunjin along at a leisurely pace.
Today's the sect's recruitment day, so some disciples were dispatched to help. The rest should still be cultivating. It's past noon now, in the Shen hour. Your senior brothers and senior sister are rather diligent, and should be at the training grounds. Let's go meet them.
He introduced along the way.
You have 2 senior brothers and 1 senior sister. Your eldest senior brother, Yue Zhao, is honest and reliable, the very image of a dependable big brother. Your second senior sister, c1-7, but she's very protective when it comes to her own. Third senior brother, Yu Songnian, is more introverted and doesn't like talking to strangers. But once you get to know him, you'll slowly get along.
Yunjin memorized each name. Soon, they arrived at Heavenly Sword Peak. Currently, the peak held only Lin Ya, his 3 disciples, and Yunjin, a grand total of 5 people.
No need to visit the other areas. They're likely training at the practice field.
Lin Ya said.
Your senior brothers and sister are pretty studious.
He brought her quickly to the practice field, only to find nothing, not even an ant. Lin Ya. Feeling a little awkward, he said.
They're probably at the back mountain practicing swordplay.
Yunjin blinked really. Chapter 7 Honest, mature, reliable. Lin Ya, trying to save face, took Yunjin to the back mountain as quickly as possible. As expected, the back mountain was still completely deserted. Lin Ya took a deep breath, forced a smile, and said,
Don't misunderstand. They are still very diligent. Maybe they're cultivating on their own in their own residences. Come. I'll take you to see your eldest, senior brother.
Yunjin simply nodded obediently. Eldest senior brother, Yue Zhao's bamboo house was built by the river. From a distance, it was surrounded by mountain mist and lush greenery, giving off the feeling of an immortal's abode.
Your eldest senior brother is the most mature and reliable.
Introduced.
It'll serve you well to seek his guidance often in the future.
Regardless of what this eldest disciple's actual character is, he was always best at keeping up appearances. That made Yi feel confident in recommending him.
Understood?
Yunjin nodded sweetly. While speaking, Lin Ya led Yunjin toward the bamboo house. But the closer they got, the more his expression began to shift.
It's your turn to play, second junior sister. Hurry up already.
Why are you rushing me? I finally got a good hand. Of course I need to think it through.
It's just a pure flush.
Yue Zhao, you peeked at my cards.
Heh, I already guessed it. What's the point of peeking? Just play a card already!
Yunjin glanced at Niya. That voice, was this really the so-called honest, mature, and reliable eldest senior brother? Lin Ya's face was already darker than the bottom of a pot. He stepped forward and kicked the bamboo door open. Yu Songnian was staring gloomily at the cards in front of him. When he looked up, he saw Lin Ya's extremely unpleasant expression, and was startled. His lips trembled.
Master. What master? Third junior brother, don't tell me you're trying to weasel out of paying. You think using Master's name is gonna scare us off? Master went to the front to watch the new disciples. He doesn't have time to deal with us. Hurry, up and play your card already!
Yue Zhao shouted impatiently. Si Wanning looked up too and immediately changed her expression.
Master.
Second junior sister, you too. I'm telling you both, today. None of you are leaving until you've lost everything.
Yue Zhao was shouting with all his might. Yunjin looked at Lin Ya again. Yet honest, mature, reliable.
Yue Zhao.
A thunderous roar shook the heavens. Lin Ya was completely furious. He drew his sword and slashed directly at Yue Zhao. Yue Zhao's face changed. He quickly dodged and began wailing.
Master! Why are you here all of a sudden? Let me explain.
Explain it to the king of hell after you die!
Lin Ya shouted angrily. Off to the side, Si Wanning pretended to plead.
Master, please stop hitting him. If you keep going, eldest brother will die, and then we won't have an eldest brother anymore.
She shouldn't have said anything. As soon as she did, Lin Ya gave her a cold glare.
Si Wanning, you seem to be enjoying the game too, didn't you?
And so began Lin Ya's indiscriminate strikes. Yu Songnian hadn't been targeted yet. He worked hard to reduce his presence, quietly shuffling over to Yunjin's side. He stopped, looking at Yunjin in confusion. Huh? Who is this? He had never seen her before. To think there was a stranger appearing on their heavenly sword peak. Now that was rare. Should he say something? Maybe ask if she was a lost little thing. Forget it. It's too troublesome, and a bit awkward. It was better to pretend he hadn't seen anything. Yu Songnian promptly lowered his head. Yunjin's mouth twitched. She knew that in her past life, Lin Ya's disciples had not met a good end. But she hadn't interacted with them much. Now that she'd met them today, she kinda wished she hadn't. Lin Ya chased Yue Zhao and Si Wanning around for a while. Then he seemed to suddenly remember that he had a brand new disciple. He came to an abrupt stop, sheathed his sword quickly, and straightened his robes. He looked a bit awkward.
Xiaojin, they're not usually like this. Just a misunderstanding, all a misunderstanding.
I understand.
Yunjin nodded seriously. Lin Ya breathed a sigh of relief, and couldn't help kicking Yue Zhao again.
I asked you to guide your junior siblings. Is this how you guide them?
I was wrong, Master. Please stop hitting me.
Yue Zhao said, a face twisted in misery.
Master, who's this?
Si Wanning asked curiously.
This is the disciple I took in today.
Introduced.
She's your little junior sister. Her name's Yunjin. She's just entered the sect, and still has a lot to learn. Take care of her in the future.
Little junior sister.
Yue Zhao's eyes went wide.
Master, how could you mislead the youth like this?
Was their heavenly sword peak a place where normal people would come to? Lin Ya's face darkened again, and he kicked Yue Zhao once more.
Who allowed you to be that honest?
Yue Zhao felt deeply aggrieved, but didn't dare continue speaking.
Himfi,
Lin Ya snorted and continued.
your junior sister is a peerless genius. She managed to cultivate C in less than half an incense stick's time. None of you are anywhere near her level.
Less than half an incense stick. Yunjin immediately received some shock points. Si Wanning looked at Yunjin like she was a monster. She couldn't help asking.
Junior sister, with talent like that, how did that old man trick you into joining here? Don't listen to him. Heavenly Sword Peak is dirt poor and has no future at all. You still have the chance to run now. I suggest you do it.
Lin Ya fumed, mustache trembling.
Si Wanning,
He had worked so hard to build up their image in front of Yunjin, and they had destroyed it all in just a few seconds. Yunjin, however, found her senior siblings rather amusing. She gave a small smile.
Senior sister, I just happened to succeed in cultivating tea. But I only have the 5-element roots. No one else would accept me.
5-element roots.
Si Wanning cried out in shock and looked at Yunjin with pity. Such great comprehension. Paired with such poor natural aptitude, this little junior sister's road ahead would not be easy.
You three now have a junior sister.
Lin Ya reminded them.
Act properly like senior brothers and sisters. It's late already. Take her around the peak and get her settled in. Once all the new disciples are sorted, don't forget to help her collect her storage pouch.
Yue Zhao suddenly put on a serious face and gave Yunjing a warm smile.
Don't worry, junior sister. With me around, I'll make sure you're living in absolute comfort.
That was, finally, a bit like a proper senior brother. Lin Ya nodded in satisfaction.
Get to know each other. I have other matters to attend to, so I'll be going for now.
Everyone responded in unison. As soon as Lin Ya left, Yue Zhao darted over at lightning speed.
Little junior sister, do you know how to play Paijiu?
His expression was full of excitement. Heavens above, they'd always been short one player. Now the team is finally complete. Yunjing curled her lips into a mysterious smile.
I know, a little.
Yue Zhao's excitement shot through the roof.
Let's go play a few rounds? You're a beginner, so if you lose today, it doesn't count. But if you win, you keep the pot.
Thank you, eldest senior brother.
Yunjing said with a well-behaved smile.